You're listening to the 49 Carats Podcast, a 49ers Goldmine production with Stephanie Sanchez.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome to an informal edition of the 49 Carats Podcast. I just got into my hotel, Mobile, Alabama, Holiday Inn. It's lit. But 1 second. Let me just figure out my headphone situation here because it's not using my headphones. And my headphones sound incredibly better than what is it called? My speakers. So want to make sure you guys can actually hear me okay. But in any case, like I said, it's informal, so I guess it doesn't really matter what I sound like all that much. All right, it's gonna use my MacBook mic, I guess. Anyway, I'm out here in Mobile, got here a little bit ago, here for the Senior Bowl, excited for it. But as always, like, there's still 49ers news to talk about. And I was going to do a show with Weston today, but unfortunately I got in a little bit late to the hotel, so we couldn't do the regular Monday show with Weston. Planning to do that tomorrow instead. So that will be like the formal show, do slides and all of that. Today, just going to informally talk about those things. So we heard that the 49ers have hired their special teams coordinator, and it was one of my favorite special team candidates that the 49ers brought in for an interview. That was Brant Boyer, who was the Jets special teams coordinator for 6 years, I believe. He survived 3 regime changes, and doing that with the Jets and getting an endorsement from Robert Saleh, to me, is a big deal. Like, I kind of love this hire because I think, for one, the fact that Boyer had survived that many regime changes tells me that, like, all the coaches that came in were like, hey, we trust that you know what you're doing. You take care of that, buddy. So I think it's going to be the same thing for Brant Boyer with the 49ers. And that's something that the 49ers, I don't think they've really had that strong of a special teams coordinator in the Kyle Shanahan era. I think like Richard Hightower was up there as well. But I think and I hope that Kyle Shanahan has maybe learned some lessons along the way, and hopefully he trusts Brant Boyer to do his thing. If he wants to be aggressive, let him freaking be aggressive. Like, and I think to have that level of trust is going to be important. And I don't see why, Kyle wouldn't trust a special teams coordinator like Brant Boyer, who has the experience that he has. So if you're looking at the Jets special teams DVOA, since Brant Boyer was a special teams coordinator back in 2019, second in DVOA, in 2020, fourth, 2021, second, 2022, second, 2023, fifth, 2024, 29th. I know what you're thinking. You're like, whoa, that was a big dip. How did they get there? They had a kickers issue in 24. They had 5 different kickers, which is problematic. I could see why there'd be some concern there. The 49ers, of course, have a lot of issues of their own with the kicking position this season, most notably. But I don't think I'd be concerned about that carrying over with Brant Boyer in San Francisco. What I do expect is that there will be competition for both punter and kicker, I believe. And I think that'll be a good thing. Again, like, you can't have a new special teams coordinator and not give him the liberty and the trust to bring in competition, even for a 3rd-round kicker. Like, that was kicking position, even punting. that was part of your issue, in 2024, right? So I think you have to give Brant Boyer the reins. I expect Kyle Shanahan to do that again. I think Kyle Shanahan really just wants to focus solely on the offense, something like he hasn't really been able to do for the past couple of years. I've said it before, I'll continue saying it. I think Kyle Shanahan always desires to have a defensive coordinator who's basically the head coach of the defense. Kyle does not want to have to worry about the defense at all. He wants to trust that whoever their coordinator is going to be so strong that they're going to own the entire defensive side of the ball, and Kyle doesn't have to think twice about it. And I think he's had that. He had that with Robert Saleh in his final 2 seasons, where it was just like such a strong defense. And then with DeMeco, the 2 seasons that he was there, that's pretty much how this team ran. And I think that's what allowed Kyle and the offense to be as good as it was as well. There were times, I think, in even a great 2023 season where it did feel like Kyle maybe had to helicopter parent the defense a little bit. And certainly in 24, this past season, I think I have to imagine that's the most that Kyle has had to maybe not care, but have to be involved with what's going on in the defense, just because it was not improving as the season went on, especially, towards, the last 4 games of the season, right? I think it took Kyle away from the offense more than it should have, more than he would have liked. And so, for one, having Robert Saleh back for that reason is huge. And I think having a special teams coordinator who can kind of have that same energy for the special teams is going to be huge, right? So I'm excited. I'm excited for that. I love the Brant Boyer hire. It could only go up from here for the 49ers. So I would expect it to. I think those are strong coordinator spots now, and Kyle can focus on what he does best, and that's, focus on the offense. And as we know, that needs some attention, after this past season. So I feel good. I feel good about what the 49ers have done this offseason so far. There were moments where it was scary, right? I wasn't sure if they would get Robert Saleh, right? And I wasn't a fan of that process of putting their eggs all in one basket, but I mean, they figured it out. It all worked out for them in the end. Same with Brant Boyer. Yeah, live chat, whoever's in here, say what's up, because like I said, this is just an informal show. I'm happy to answer any questions, talk Senior Bowl prospects, anyone you guys are liking. If you want to talk about the 49ers as well. Yeah, this one. So Nick Sorensen, right? We knew Nick Sorensen was not going to be part of the 49ers team anymore. We know that the 49ers, Kyle Shanahan said that they would have liked to keep him on, right? After in the off-season presser that they had, they shared that sentiment. Ultimately did not come to fruition. And I think because there was no guarantee that Nick Sorensen would have wanted to stay. And I don't blame him one bit for, not wanting to stay in a situation where, hey, you put me in this tough predicament of being the defensive coordinator. I know I was your plan C, maybe even D, and I tried my best, and I didn't even have a good, personnel to work with on defense. And yeah, that's true. Sorensen had the worst personnel of any defensive coordinator under Kyle Shanahan with the 49ers. And yeah, I mean, one can make the argument he was left high and dry. And of course, you can also say he was just not a good defensive coordinator. Both things are true, I think. And so I think it made sense for Nick Sorensen to not return with the 49ers. And with John Fassel getting a job elsewhere for the Cowboys, who longtime special teams coordinator for them. They were looking for a special teams coordinator, so Nick Sorensen heading to the Cowboys as their special teams coordinator. So I feel like that's pretty interesting, but wish him the best. Unfortunately did not work out in San Francisco. Hey, Tisha. Yeah, I'm also excited for Senior Bowl practices. I've been trying to get as much film watch as I can on some of these prospects that are going to be there. It's so it's so hard to find a roster of the full Senior Bowl roster. I've seen accepted invites, but haven't seen an actual roster. So I've been trying to watch a couple guys on the flight. I finally got around to watching Andrew Mukuba. I get it. I totally get it. The first game that I watched of his today, the All 22, was his game this year against Georgia. Within the first few plays, he had a pick, and it was a one-handed pick at that. And he had a second one later in the game, not too long after the first, honestly. And they were both super acrobatic, tip catches, and he still ends up with it. I get it. Mukuba, really nice. I'm really excited to see him out here in Mobile. There's a couple guys that I know were going or had accepted invites, but are not going to be there. Chase Lunt, for example, I think had accepted an invite. He's not going to be there. I was excited to see him. The Stanford wide receiver, Alec Ayo-Maynor, not going to be there. So that's a shame. But there are a lot of guys that I'm excited to see out here. Deon Walker, I think, is a really interesting one for the 49ers. I know with the measurements that came out today, big dude for his size. I think he moves really well. Big effort guy. He has a nice twin move, violent hands. Looks like he could beat double teams as well. Thought he was getting his run fits. So Deon Walker, excited to see him. I started watching Membao too. Armand Membao, the tackle. So here's the thing about so many tackles that coming out of college, 75% of people are that's a guard in the NFL. I don't know if that's true about Membao, though. I guess we'll have to see. This Senior Bowl week, I think, is going to be big for him. But he checked in with pretty long arms, so I think that helps his case. And watching him, his size doesn't seem like an issue to me. He has a strong base. His balance is crazy. He shows a lot of flexibility. He can get bent back and still hold his base, and it's impressive. So I think his size is not an issue at all, and I really liked what I saw from him. Excited to see the running backs. I haven't really watched any of the running backs yet, at least the all 22, because I'm just whoever stands out, I think it'll be obvious in these practices, right? And then kind of the same for wide receivers. I haven't dove too much into those guys. I've been trying to get into the trenches and preparing for those guys. So I've seen Landon Jackson. Excited to see him. Big guy too. Excellent motor. I also Ezaraku from Boston College. Excited to see him. I think he has a strong repertoire of moves. He's got the cross chop, club swims. And I think his skill set does complement what the 49ers look for. ACC, DPOI. I'm excited to see what he does out here in Mobile as well. Excited to see Cam Skattebo. I want to interview Skattebo. I have a couple questions for him. That's the other part that's fun about Senior Bowl week. You get to interview some of these guys and, see where their head's at. So yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited to see who stands out. There's always someone who, grabs people's attention, and it's exciting times, especially with the 49ers having the 11th pick in the draft. I'm super excited about that. It just feels like they can really get an impact player, whether it's defensive line or offensive line, and I'm really looking forward to that for this team. They need to improve the trenches. I do think they go defensive line, especially with Saleh back. I think, who was it? Tony Pauline. So I'll talk about this more tomorrow with Weston. But Tony Pauline said, the 49ers are wanting to address like speed in their defense, particularly the secondary. And I think that makes a lot of sense. They want to emphasize team speed in the secondary via the draft and free agency. There's also a cry to be more innovative on defense. And the belief is they will be a bit more exotic next season and throw in a lot more wrinkles and surprises. That's what Tony Pauline said about what he's heard from 49ers coaches at the Shrine Bowl. I want to remind people, 49ers have, their feet on the ground out here in these bowl games. At the Shrine Bowl, they have 3 assistant coaches out there coaching the players, and I think that's a great opportunity to really see some of these prospects up close and work with them. They have their assistant DB coach, Andrew Hayes Stroger, at the Shrine Bowl. He's coaching the West team DBs. And so that's about, how many players is this? 14 DBs that he's coaching at the Shrine Bowl, including Rutgers' Robert Longerbeam, who has been all the rage at the Shrine Bowl. And Cal Noel Williams is another one. Jabbar Muhammad out of Oregon as well. Both the Colorado DBs, Sanders and Silman Craig. So there's a lot of good guys that he's coaching up out there and getting the hands-on look. So I think that's going to be of value to the 49ers. My question is, are the 49ers or is Robert Saleh going to keep Hayes Stroger on the team? Assistant DB coach. He's been with the 49ers now for, I believe, 3 years or something like that. I just know, I looked back, I just know his time with the 49ers does not overlap with Saleh's time. So they have not worked together at all. Hayes Stroger, I think, came with when D'Amico was the DC. So there's no overlap with Saleh. So we'll see if Saleh elects to keep him around. I think, like I said, given that he's doing this pre-draft work and you're getting this intel from him, I think it makes him of value to keep him around. But we'll just have to see. The other guy the other assistant that the 49ers have coaching out there is Cameron Brown, who is their defensive quality control coach, and he is coaching the defensive line on the West team of the East-West Shrine Bowl. So he's got 12 guys on the defensive line that he's coaching up. And so, again, just a really great look to a really great opportunity to look at some of these prospects. Jordan Phillips, for example, he's getting a really good hands-on look at him. Nash Hutmacher getting a good look at him, like all these guys. I think this intel alone will be valuable. So I kind of hope the 49ers do keep these guys around. Like Saleh, I hope he keeps these guys around at least till after the draft because they're going to have some valuable information about some of these guys. And like I said, I think with Saleh coming back, I think they're wanting to make things right for him. I know every fan wants them to address offensive line. And when you say that, you want them to go offensive line in the first round. But there's so much work that needs to be done on the defense from like the personnel standpoint. It just has to get better. Like, sure, you can make the same argument about offensive line, but like, I think the 49ers have shown that they could. The offensive line is not their biggest issue. It is an issue. Some players, right? But I really don't think it's a hindrance to the point where it's a bigger need than defensive line. Defensive personnel, in particular the defensive line, has got to be better. And when you just bring in Robert Saleh and you have this opportunity to, go all in, basically, in 2025 with Saleh, because there's no guarantee he returns after this season. Like, he might be getting head coaching interest after the 2025 season as well. So, like, you got to go all in for 25. So given that, like, you got to give him a strong set of personnel to work with, right? You got your foundational pieces. You still got the Fred and the Boses, and you still got Lenore, right? And they had a strong draft class. You got Renardo Green now. You got Mustafa. But I think you definitely need to bolster up the defensive line. So, again, I think Andrew Hayes-Stroker, Cameron Brown, I want those guys to stay around for Robert Saleh's staff. So we'll see what they do. The other Shrine Bowl assistant coach who's coaching in the Shrine Bowl has been Miguel Revelez. He's an offensive assistant. He's coaching the West running backs. So all these three assistant coaches are coaching the West running backs. The West positional groups, right? So I saw this clip of Revelez working with the running backs, and you see Frank Gore there. Like, and obviously Frank Gore, very big in, scouting and all that as an advisor for the 49ers. And so he was there watching very closely with the running backs. So they're getting some good intel on these guys. All right. So I think I would bet money that they end up drafting one of these guys that they are coaching, at least one of these guys that they're coaching at the Shrine Bowl. And they have a couple of guys at the Senior Bowl as well that they're coaching up. KJ Wright is he is coaching the linebackers. So that begs the question again, is Robert Saleh going to keep KJ Wright on his staff in 25? I hope so. Because again, like, he is also gathering information on some of these prospects. It's a good position too. The linebackers and edge. So outside linebackers and edge guys. So that's big. That's valuable. That's exactly what the 49ers need. And he's going to be coaching Mike Green, who's getting a lot of potential first round love. We'll see how he does. He's gained weight in a good way. Like, he needed to do that. I think that's good for him. And then also the one knock on him is his height, or like his arms. He has shorter arms, not as long as you would like on an edge rusher. So we'll see how he does this week, Mike Green. I mean, the tape shows that he's really good. He's from Marshall, so how is he going to look going up against top-tier talent out here at the Senior Bowl, right? With some of these tackles that he's going to be going up against. There's some good tackles in the Senior Bowl this year. So can Mike Green continue to, be dominant against those guys? If yes, then I think it would boost his stock and alleviate some of the concerns about his arm length. But we'll see. Like I said, KJ Wright's going to get an up close look at him. So we'll see. The other guy, Jeffrey Bassa, he's going to be coaching. Like I said, Donovan Ezaraku is going to be one of the guys he's going to be coaching up. So this big opportunity for the 49ers through these coaches to get a good look at who they could potentially be picking at 11 or, another spot, right? So I think it's going to be important that Robert Saleh keeps these guys on his staff. Just my 2 cents. The other one is August Mangin, who's he's the special teams quality control coach. So August Mangin, we'll see if Brant Boyer elects to keep him around, right? Special teams, not as big of a deal as far as, I guess, drafting, but still it'll be valuable to see what all these assistant coaches, what intel, they have. Yes, KJ Wright at the Senior Bowl. Yeah, and Mike Green's tape, like I said, it's impressive. But, I think the size concerns are there for some teams. Some teams are very strict, I guess I'd say, when it comes to measurables. I'm sure there's some teams that would not draft him just based on his arm length. But we'll see. I don't know if the 49ers are one of those teams that would just take him off their draft board just because of that. But a week like this is an opportunity for Mike Green to prove that he does belong despite of that. So we'll see. We'll see. Yeah, Nathan says Walter Nolan is a great player. I think he will be the next DJ Jones. I've heard a lot about Walter Nolan. I'll probably watch him after this, actually. And Chad also says, I have a gut feeling they go Walter Nolan Jr. in the first. They could get him in the first. Yeah, I know he's early top 15 player, so we'll see. And yeah, throughout this week, we're gonna find out more of who the 49ers have been meeting with. I've been tracking who the 49ers have been meeting with, at the Hula Bowl, Tropical Bowl. Haven't seen anything about the Shrine Bowl, although the Shrine Bowl hasn't finished yet, so there'll probably be more reports once it's over. Same with the Senior Bowl. There'll be more reports on that. So all that to say, make sure you guys have my 49ers draft sheet tracker, all right? And tracking everyone who the 49ers have had interest in, reported interest in, or have met with, spoken with at any point throughout the draft. I know YouTube chat does not support links, but you can copy that, paste it into your browser, and see that on your own time. And just so you know, it's easier. It's way easier to see. If you're looking on your mobile, it's easier to see in desktop. But if you are on your phone, you can see it in horizontal view, and you can see it better that way. Dom C says his Walter Nolan comp is Ed Oliver. Oof, that's a good one right there. Nice. Yeah, I got to watch Walter Nolan, and obviously I'm going to get a chance to see him out here at the Senior Bowl, but I'm going to watch his tape tonight. Excited about the trenches. I think that's what I'm going to pay attention to the most in day one. Day one is always so overwhelming because there's so much going on, and you're like, what position do I watch today? And you kind of decide halfway through the practice. But today I'm going in with tomorrow I'm going in with a game plan. I am going to be focusing on the trenches, defensive line, offensive line. I'll let the rest come to me, right? I think wide receivers and running backs, those are positions that will just stand out even if you're not paying attention to them, I think. So I think those will catch my eye as the week goes on. But defensive line, offensive line, gonna be my priority tomorrow. Maybe most of the week, because like I said, there's gonna be so many good ones. Tisha with the scoop here. I'm just posting right now. The 49ers met with Washington Carson Bruner. All right. Yeah, I'll look out for that because I'm going to put that in my sheet. Carson Bruner. All right. Sweet. Yeah. Like I said, keep up with the draft sheet. You'll see the very latest on there. To this point, we have a little over 30 or close to 30 players on there, which is, I think, the most that I've had at this time of the year since starting the draft sheet. So that's exciting. I do think I'll have more than that. Oh, dang. Damn. I just saw. So Dane Brugler just posted that no Scattaboo at the Senior Bowl this week. Oh, no Andrew Makuba. Dang. I was so excited for both of those players. Damn. This happens every year, though. Every year there's guys who originally accept their invite, don't end up going. Sometimes it's they're dealing with injuries. Sometimes they think about it a little bit more and they're like, you know what? Like, I think I'm good. I'll prepare for the combine. Hey, it happens. With that, though, there's also players who weren't originally going to be a part of it who end up getting invited. So, like, sometimes you get some guys called up from the Shrine Bowl, then invited to the Senior Bowl. We might see that this year as well. There's a few guys that were at the Shrine Bowl that I would not mind seeing at the Senior Bowl. And with some of these guys dropping out, they'd probably make for some great replacements. Just saying. I hope we do see some of those guys. Dang, that's a bummer, though. Those were like at least 2 of 3 guys that I wanted to see. Damn. Yeah, there'll be more of those. But yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited for tomorrow. I'm just going to, like I said, rest of the night I'm just going to be watching some film on some of these guys and waking up early to catch practice. And yeah, make sure you guys follow me on Twitter. Yeah, Twitter is probably the best place to follow me for all the deets. That 49K there. But I'll be doing daily recap videos on my YouTube here. So make sure you guys check that out. And I'll probably be posting some videos on here as well about, some of the practice clips. So keep it locked. Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you have not yet. Hit that notification bell so you know when I go live. Like I said, I'll be doing my formal live show with Weston tomorrow. That will go out to the audio listeners as well. But for now, folks, I'm going to get ready for bed and watch some film. So see you guys and talk to you guys later. Peace.